Hi boys and girls, today is Thursday, June 4th, 2020. I am back in our Go Math packet. I am on page 717. Again, it says Lesson 12, Chapter 4. So I'm on 12.4 still. There's just a few more pages in 12.4, and then you're going to do something else. So let's go over the learning target again for what we're learning in this lesson. It says, I can describe line segments that are sides of polygons. So you've heard me say, look at all the sides around the polygon, or sometimes I might say, look at all the line segments, because line segments meet at a vertex, meet at a point, and when all of those line segments meet at a point and create a shape that is a polygon, then we know they are now called sides. So line segments and sides, boys and girls, mean the same thing, okay? So that's what we're going to continue to do today. On this page, page 717, we're going to be doing problem solving. We always have a problem solving page. So we'll read the problems carefully, underline information if we need to, and we will solve. So it says use pattern blocks A through E for numbers 8 through 11. So over on the right hand side, these are the shapes that we're going to use to answer questions 8, 9, 10, and 11. So let's take a look at them for a few minutes so that we know what they are. Now I know this one is real black, but this is letter D or shape D, okay? The rest of them I think you can see. That is a hexagon, triangle. This is a quadrilateral, four-sided figure. This is a rhombus. It is also a four-sided figure, which basically is a quadrilateral. And that is a square. So we'll use those to answer the questions. All right, so let's look at the first one. It says, Chelsea wants to sort pattern blocks by the types of sides. So in question 8, it says, which blocks have intersecting sides? Now let's not forget, we did talk about lines yesterday at the beginning of lesson 12.4. Intersecting lines are lines that cross, so they look like this, okay? And of course they should have little arrows at the end because they're showing you that they cross and they're lines and they go on forever. Now, if you don't remember those types of lines, all you have to do is go back into the packet, because if I go back right now, my friends, here is page 715. It shows me intersecting lines. So that's what that is. And that is what I drew to remind you. So there it is. So now we need to find which of those blocks are intersecting. The lines would continue to cross if they went on forever. So let's take a look. If you look at A, there are intersecting lines. I'll give you an example. Here's a line segment. If I keep going, it's going to go in that direction. Here is another line segment. If it keeps going in that direction, don't those lines cross? Yes. So A is one of our answers. Look at B. Again, here is a line segment. I can make a line and it can go on forever. Here's another line. It can go on forever. Do they intersect eventually? Yes, they do. What about C? Yep. Keep going on forever. Keep going on forever. They cross at a point. What about D? Yep. This line went on forever. And this line kept going on forever. They cross at a point. And of course, E does the same thing. This line could go on forever. This line could go on forever. They cross at a point. So boys and girls, it's all of them. So please write for number 8, A, B, C, D, and E. They all have intersecting lines, okay? Number 9, which blocks have parallel sides, meaning that they will never cross, they'll never touch, and they're at the same distance apart from each other. So let's take a look. A definitely has intersecting lines. I'm just going to show you. This line and this line are parallel to each other. So A has intersecting lines. Another one is C. This line and this line, they are parallel. They're never going to touch, and they're away from each other at the same distance. And D, this line and this line are parallel. They're never going to touch. And of course, E, you've got this and this would never touch, and the top and the bottom. So the only one we're not going to put there is which one? B. The rest of them have parallel lines. So we're going to write A, C, D, and E. So the only one you don't need to write is B. All right, number 10. Which blocks have perpendicular lines? Now remember, perpendicular lines are lines that cross, but also they have right angles where you can put a perfect square in each corner. So let's see which one has perpendicular lines. If you look closely, it's only E, because again, if I just draw it here, you can put a perfect square in each corner, and they're right angles, okay? So like if this line went on forever, and then here, there's your, let me zoom in so you can see that. All right, so here, if this line went on and this horizontal line went on, don't you see a perfect square in the corner? Doesn't that remind you of perpendicular? It should. The only answer you can put for number 10 is E. All right, now go to number 11. It says, which blocks have neither parallel nor perpendicular, So what shape doesn't have this and doesn't have this? Okay, so here's your parallel lines. Here are your perpendicular lines. And I know it's kind of hard to see inside the shapes, but they want to see if you know which blocks have no parallel, they don't have these, and no perpendicular, they don't have these. Now I know it's hard to figure this out. The answer is B. Now B has intersecting, but B does not have perpendicular. Let me show you. So here, I'll draw the triangle. This is letter B, right? You don't have parallel because these two lines are not parallel to each other, because eventually they're going to touch. So you don't have parallel. They're also saying that, I'm saying that block B also doesn't have perpendicular, which is this. There's no lines that cross here into a cross where you can make a perfect square in the corner. So basically there's no right angle in B. So the only one that doesn't have parallel or perpendicular lines is shape B. So please go back over to number 11 and write B. All right, now let's go to number 12. It says, go deeper. On the box at the right, how many pairs of edges are perpendicular line segments? Now, again, we haven't talked about 3D shapes yet, but this obviously is not a plain, flat, two-dimensional shape. That box is a 3D shape, a three-dimensional. It has an inside. We will talk about that, but they threw this in and they want you to think a little bit. That's why it says go deeper for number 12. So it says on the box at the right, how many pairs of edges are perpendicular line segments? Oh my goodness gracious. So they showed you these. Perpendicular again means that they cross, okay? So it's hard to count all of these. I'm just going to give you the answer. It's 24. Now, if you want to go back and figure that out with your parents, you can, but there's 24 pairs of edges that are perpendicular because you have to count all of them and in the inside of the box, okay? So there's quite a few. Number 13, it says, can the same two lines be parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting? So they're saying, can the same two lines that you look at, can they be parallel, perpendicular, and intersecting? Well, if I use this little space here, again, this is parallel, never cross, never touch. They're at the same distance apart from each other. This is perpendicular. This is intersecting. So they're saying, can two lines be all three of those? No. You should know that from what we answered on number 11 for the triangle. You cannot have two lines that can do all three of these things. Because if they're parallel, that means they're never going to touch. So they could never be intersecting, or excuse me, they could never be perpendicular and intersecting if you have a pair of parallel lines. So my answer is no, comma, lines that cross can be both intersecting and perpendicular. So you can do two of them the same, but the parallel you can't. Okay, can be both intersecting and perpendicular, but not, oops, parallel. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oh, no, I can't. Okay, let's see. So the lines that I drew over to the right-hand side, intersecting and perpendicular can be related to each other. You can have both, but you can't have all three because parallel lines are never supposed to cross or touch. So you can have two of them that could do two of those things, be intersecting and be and perpendicular, but you can't have all three because parallel lines are not supposed to touch. All right, so please copy. I'll give you a few seconds. No, lines that cross can be both intersecting and perpendicular, but not parallel. So two of them can be the same because they're crossing and touching. Parallel, you can't put that in the same group as intersecting and perpendicular because parallel lines never cross. They never touch. Okay, pause the video if you need to. I'm moving on. All right, now I am on page 718. Unlock the problem. Look at number 14. We're going to be, again, looking at these shapes. It says, I am a pattern block. I am a pattern block that has two fewer sides than a hexagon. Now again, a hexagon has how many sides? 6. So if it's two fewer, the word fewer should tell you you need to subtract. What is 6 minus 2 if a hexagon has 6 sides? 6 minus 2 is 4. So 2 fewer sides than a hexagon. So you only can have 4 sides. I have 2 pairs of parallel sides and 4 right angles. What shape am I? So right away, you know it's got to be a 4-sided figure. So you can definitely take this one out because that's the hexagon with 6 sides. And it said, I am a pattern that is 2 fewer than a hexagon. So it has to be something that's 4 sides. You can also take out the triangle because it only has 3. So what do we have left? We have a 4-sided figure square. We have a 4-sided figure diamond. That's kind of like a diamond or a kite. And we have a quadrilateral, which is also 4 sides. So it's one of these. So when we move on and read the rest of the problem, it says I have 2 pairs of parallel lines, which means they're never going to cross, they're never going to touch, and 4 right angles. There's your key. All right. It's the square. The square can have 4 right angles in each corner, and it has 2 pairs of parallel lines. Those 2, they're never going to cross, they're never going to touch. and these two. They're never going to cross and they're never going to touch. So we know the answer, but they want us to break it down. So we'll break it down real quick. It says, what do you need to find? Please write. Which shape has two fewer, and I'll get out of your way in a second. I just want to make sure you guys can copy. Ooh, has two fewer sides than a hexagon. And I can't fit the rest, but we know what else we have to do. We also have to know that it has two pairs of parallel sides and it has to have 4 right angles. So you could just underline that information, but please copy. What do we need to find? We need to find the shape that has 2 fewer sides than a hexagon. We already talked about that. A hexagon has 6 sides. If we take 2 away, that's only a 4-sided figure. That figure must have 4 right angles and it must have 2 pairs of parallel lines. Okay, now I'm going to letter B. It says, how can you find the answer to the riddle? Well, they want us to make a table, which is down here. I can make a table with the clues to help me. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to fill out that table at the bottom. So please write, I can make a table with the clues to help me. So the table says for letter C, write yes or no in the table to solve the riddle. We already know the answer. We already talked about it, but we will fill out the table. Okay, so let's see if I can hold this and we can fill it in. It says 2 fewer sides than a hexagon. Does this have 2 fewer sides than a hexagon? No. Does this one? Yes, it's 4 sides because we're looking for a 4-sided figure. Does this one have less than 2 from a hexagon? Yes, because 6 minus 2 is 4. Does this one? Yes, it also has 4. Does this quadrilateral? Yes. Does the hexagon? No, we know the hexagon is 6-sided. Ooh, Miss Harlan, you're writing so sloppy. Okay, and then the next category says exactly 2 pairs of parallel sides. No, a triangle doesn't have 2 pairs of parallel sides. Does this shape? Yeah, it does. It is 2 pairs of parallel sides. This one? Yes. Because you can look at it this way. This one and this one are parallel to each other. And you can do that over here too. This one and this one are parallel to each other, or you could do the opposite. What about the square? Yes. What about the quadrilateral? Well, these two are eventually going to touch each other. So you got to say no here. And then the hexagon, the answer is no. Then again, 4 right angles. Well, this is easy. The triangle doesn't make any 4 right angles. Neither does this figure. Neither does this figure. Square? Yep. The quadrilateral? No. Hexagon? No. So now you've got the one that has all 3 yeses, and that's the square. So that's how we figured out that the square is the answer to the riddle. All right, number 15, it says, select the shapes that have at least 1 pair of parallel sides. Mark all that apply. So you only need 1 pair that has parallel sides. Again, the square we know has parallel sides. Never going to cross, never going to touch. The rectangle has parallel sides. Never going to cross, never going to touch. Triangle, no. Hexagon, yeah. You've got this one and this one. So that's 1 pair. We're not asking for 2 pairs like we did up here with the square. only one pair of parallel lines. That's what it says right here. One pair. And the hexagon does have one pair. So we're going to mark it. Okay, I'm going to hold this up and make sure that you filled in the table. I know I was going a little fast, so go ahead. And then when you get to 15, you're selecting the shapes that have one pair of parallel sides. That would be the square, letter A, the rectangle, letter B, not the triangle, and letter D. The hexagon does have one pair of parallel sides. So please copy. Okay, pause the video if you need to. Now, when you go to the next page, which I'm not doing, it is your practice and homework lesson 12.4. You should be able to do this on your own. Again, you can go back into the packet, boys and girls, to find the different types of lines that we've been talking about if you forgot what they are. So I think I'll do number 9 and that's it. It says, give some examples of perpendicular lines inside or outside your classroom. Wow. All right, so they want you to find things where you would look at perpendicular. Now again, perpendicular lines are lines that cross, but they can make a perfect square in the corner. I'm going to say the classroom door. Because if I look at a classroom door, if this line goes on forever and this one goes on forever, I can make a perfect square in the corner, can't I? So how about your locker? And I'll give you one more. And think of something else where you would see perpendicular lines. I'm going to say whiteboard. Okay, now if you think of some more, write it down, okay? Now, on the back, let's see. Number 1, how many pairs of parallel sides? Okay, I'm not going to do 1. Not going to do 2. Nope. Not doing 4. Not doing 5. Not doing 6. So guess what? I'm not doing any on the back. So I only did one problem with you on the front. So it is your responsibility to do this homework page. I will go over it tomorrow. All right. I hope that you're still watching these videos, boys and girls. I know we're getting toward the end of the school year. We really only have one more week left after this week, but Ms. Harling is still putting up videos, and I sincerely appreciate all who are watching and who are filling in answers and going along with me in the packet. That shows that you're being responsible and you care about learning from home, even though you're not in the classroom. We miss you all so much. We wish we were there. This is not the setting that we would like to be in, but because of the coronavirus and having to stay home and being safe, this is what we have to do. I really hope that you're doing it with me. And I really hope your brothers and sisters are also doing what they have to do with their teachers. Learning is still going on. We are not done yet. We're almost at the finish line, but not quite. So please, please, please follow along with me. Fill this information in. These are things you're going to be talking about again next year in 4th grade. You can't say, well, I didn't learn this. You did, because I've been putting up videos every single day. And usually I put up 2 to 3 videos a day. So it's your responsibility to be looking at these. If you have access to YouTube, which I know a lot of you do, because you were telling me before how you always look up the YouTube channel and look up different things that you like to see on YouTube. So I appreciate anybody who is watching my videos and taking the time to really learn your math. All right, my friends, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Have a great day. Go outside. It's supposed to be nice the rest of the week. Ms. Harling will be outside. I hope you enjoy it. Bye for now.